Good evening, hockey fans from around the Nicola Valley. Welcome to the show where you can stay up to date on everything Merritt Centennials, Talking Sense. I'm your host and play-by-play broadcaster for the Centennials, Jared Thomas. Talking Sense is brought to you by DCS Auto, the automotive shop that can talk your vehicle's language. Bring your car into Sean and Heidi on Lauder Street behind Cal Tire or call 378-2929. We're heading into week 12 of the season, and the Sense we're back inside the friendly confines of the Nicola Valley Memorial Arena for a matchup against the then leading in the league Vernon Vipers on Friday night, and a matchup against their Island Division standings counterparts, the Alberni Valley Bulldogs, on Saturday. The Sense had an opportunity to play spoiler against the Vipers on Friday night, and Austin Roden saw his first home start in net for the Sense. His last start, you'll recall, was against the Alberni Valley Bulldogs, where he had to be sharp as the Sense were outshot 17-4 in the first. Well, the Sense, despite being at home, didn't make life easy for Roden in the first against the Vipers.
Hendrick, long shot, rebound, Sandu scores!
That would be the only goal of the first period as Roden turns aside 20 of 21 shots in that first period. The Sense managed just 8 on the starter for the Vipers, Anthony Yamnitsky. However, at the end of the first period, Ufberg went off for tripping, and the penalty carried over to the second period, where the Sense were able to strike.
Shot off the face-off, Claycorn, rebound, they'll score! Off the end boards, Henry Claycorn, I say, he lights the foghorn, it's all tied up at once! Woohoo! The Sense on the board, courtesy Henry Claycorn.
Sense with the early strike in the second period. However, it didn't stop the Vipers from turning the tide back against the Centennials, and Roden had to be strong.
Back to the left point, Jandrick, the quick shot deflected on, what stops by Roden, and he'll hang on! Oh, Austin Roden flashes the paddle, robs the Vipers. After it was deflected on a shot from the line from Chris Jandrick, Roden made the reactionary save, and then on the rebound made an even bigger stop with the paddle of his stick.
However, Roden couldn't stop them all. Midway through the second period, Josh Prokop alone to the side of the net after a turnover.
Off the skates of Williamson, it's loose in the slot. Oh, what a wrister, following up the play! Did they score?
Yes, they did. It was a play where Roden looked to have made the save, but it squeaked underneath his pads and went to the back of the net. Just moments later, he did make a huge stop, this time on a 2-on-0 to keep the lead at just 2-1.
Turnover, now a 2-on-0 in sight. Give and go. What a stop by Roden! Oh, blocker save on a 2-on-0.
The Sense hung on to the last 2 minutes of play in the second period, where Jimmy Lambert was able to bat one out of midair. In the third, the Sense tried to make things interesting as just 5 minutes in, Brendan Schneider was able to light the lamp.
Koka off the wall, wrister up high, rebound, Chase Bell is loose in the slot. Yamnitsky, they'll score! Brendan Schneider finds the loose puck.
Despite the early goal in the third, the Sense can't manage to get the equalizer despite 4 chances on the power play in the third period. Austin Roden's over 50 save effort goes for naught. He did, however, get first star of the game. When we return, we'll break down the matchup on Saturday against the Alberni Valley Bulldogs. You're listening to Talking Sense, brought to you by DCS Auto, with me, Jared Thomas. Welcome back to the show where you can stay up to date on everything Merritt Centennials, Talking Sense. I'm your host and play-by-play broadcaster for the Centennials, Jared Thomas. Talking Sense is brought to you by DCS Auto, the automotive shop that can talk your vehicle's language. Bring your car in to Sean and Heidi on Lauder Street behind Cal Tire or call 378-2929. So, in the first segment, we recapped the 3-2 loss at the hands of the Vernon Vipers on Friday night. But on Saturday, the Sents were right back at it against the Alberni Valley Bulldogs. These teams already facing each other once this season. This was the season finale of the series here. They tied 3-3 on the island just 2 weeks ago on that island road swing. And the Sents, they weren't having the same start they did on the island where they were outshot 17-4. They put the shoe on the other foot and put the pedal down against the Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs, Schneider trying to center. Now Nick Wicks with the puck. Centers for Court. Quick shot, he'll score! Zach Court! Fill in the 6x4 frame as he puts it low blocker side on Hawthorne, and it's 1-0. The Sents strike early. Let's hope it's often tonight.
The Sents indeed striking early, and just 6 minutes later they'd make it often. But first, Chase Bell got things started.
On the left side to Chase Bell. Bell plays it behind the net. Cleghorn after it. The side of the net trying to stuff it. Oh, and they do! Chase Bell from the odd angle. He gets it to go, baby. It's 2-0. Hard work and determination paying off for the veterans. Chase Bell, his first goal since returning to the lineup.
Chase Bell and the veterans going to work in the corners, in the dirty areas, getting it done. And as I mentioned, Chase Bell with his first goal, his first point, I believe, since returning to the lineup against the Salmon Arm Silverbacks just a week ago. And the Sents weren't done there in the first period, as just 2 minutes later, they got some damage done on the power play.
Wicks, a nice saucer feed to Buckley over for Burkepeck on the left side. His shot up high. Burkepeck lights the lamp, and the rout is on early on the power play. The Centennials strike again. This time, it's Joey Burkepeck getting the goal. And that goal horn getting some use here in the first period. And the Sents chase Hawthorne from the net. And their old teammate, Colton Lancaster, coming in relief.
The Sents still weren't done there as they went right back to the power play.
Cleghorn, right point for Sam Miller. Over for Coca. Back for Miller from the middle of the ice. Up top! Sam Miller! It's Miller time! 4-0. The Centennials lead. The goaltender change does nothing to reverse the Bulldogs' fortunes, and the Sents get another one on the board.
The goalie change would do a little to reverse the fortunes of the Bulldogs, as Colton Lancaster, after allowing that goal on Sam Miller, stood strong for the rest of the game. In the second period, it was a penalty-filled affair where the Sents just couldn't get any momentum going, whether they were on the power play, whether they were on the penalty kill, whether it was 4-on-4 or 4-on-3, 5-on-3. It didn't seem to matter, and the Bulldogs were able to capitalize just the once in the second period.
Bulldogs score. Simeon toe drags around the defenseman, centers it, and the Bulldogs score on a beauty.
No goals scored in the third period, but the Sents finished the game with more pep. They were on their toes instead of being on their heels in the third period and guide the game to a 4-1 victory. When we return on Talking Sents, we'll look ahead to the matchups against the West Kelowna Warriors and the Trail Smoke Eaters this weekend. And I'm joined by the new assistant coach of the Sents, Brandon Shaw. When we return on Talking Sents, sponsored by DCS Auto, with me, Jared Thomas. Welcome back to the show where you can stay up to date on everything Merritt Centennials Talking Sents. I'm your host and play-by-play broadcaster for the Centennials, Jared Thomas. Talking Sents brought to you by DCS Auto, the automotive shop that can talk your vehicle's language. Bring your car into Sean and Heidi on Louder Street behind Cal Tire, or call 378-2929. In segment 1 and 2, we recapped the action in the week that was Friday night against the Vernon Vipers, a 3-2 loss. Saturday night against the Alberni Valley Bulldogs, a 4-1 win. Let's hear now from the new assistant coach on the Centennials, Brandon Shaw, You might not be familiar with his background, so first let's start there. Where did Brandon Shaw spend his time last year?
From Ontario, I was coaching in the GOJHL where Ashton Stocky played, coached in Cambridge there for 2 years. Before that, I was with the Hamilton Bulldogs in the AHL and OHL doing advanced statistics and stuff like that. And then I got a scouting background as well with the Centennials and a bunch of other teams. So kind of got my hands in all different sorts of things, but it's good to be out here, and it's a lot more fun to win when you're out here.
Speaking of wins, they hung on 4-1 against the Bulldogs. I asked Brandon what was going right in the first.
The first, we were just moving our feet. We were getting in on the forecheck steadily, and we were relentless. And we've talked about that with the boys before, and that's our identity. We're a hardworking team that needs to be constantly relentless, and if we can do that, we can put up good numbers. It kind of brought us back to the island trip there. That's exactly what we were, and that's what we brought tonight in the first.
That was what they brought in the first, but in the second period, mired with penalties. We talked a little bit about how penalty kills, power plays, if it doesn't go right, it can kill the momentum.
Yeah, with special teams, you usually gain momentum off a good kill. And when you have a power play and the power play just doesn't work, sometimes you lose momentum. But special teams are tough. You have some guys that play a lot, and then you have some guys that are sitting there cold. So it's definitely a little bit of a momentum swing. And I guess it was a bit of a momentum swing and a lull in the game there.
In the third, however, the Saints, with one of their best efforts at guiding a lead home.
We just regrouped in the intermission there, and we've given up some leads in the past, but we're working on putting the pedal down and continuing in the third period so we can play like we're behind rather than sitting back holding the lead. We're slowly learning. We got a young team, so just learning that throughout the season will help us, and we're going in the right direction right now. So
that direction has them heading to West Kelowna this Friday for a matchup against the Warriors. I asked Brandon what challenges the Warriors represent.
West Kelowna's got a bigger team. They like to draw you in and kind of put pucks into white space behind you. So it's going to be just staying disciplined in our system, staying disciplined in between the dots, and I think we'll be all right.
Then the Saturday game, the Saints take on the Trail Smoke Eaters once again at the Nicola Valley Memorial Arena.
They're a good team. They're one of the best in the BCHL. They're big, they're fast, they're disciplined in their systems, they're disciplined on the ice, and they got a lot of guys that can move the puck well and move their feet. So we just have to contain their speed, believe in what we're doing, can beat them, and if we do it well, we have a very good shot of winning a game.
The Smoke Eaters, of course, now tops in the league as it stands right now on Monday night. But you know, that can all change by the time they drop the puck on Saturday. It's the West Kelowna Warriors on the road on Friday night. The Trail Smoke Eaters at home on Saturday. You can tune in or you can show up at the rink live. This has been Talking Sense, brought to you by DCS Auto with myself, Jared Thomas. Go Sense Go. See ya. Love ya. Bye.